Good afternoon and welcome to BizTech's ASEAN Midday Market Watch. Our guest today is Adam Reynolds. He's the CEO Asia Pacific at Saxo Markets. Adam, great to have you on the show.
Thanks, Brian. Thank you for having me. First time on here, and I'm happy to join you today.
Now, Adam, before we get your insights, let's take a quick look at how markets have performed this morning across the region. Now, the SGX is at 2,931.17. It's down 0.14%. Bursa Malaysia is at 1,587.18. It's up 0.07%. Across the Nikkei, it's down slightly at 0.12% at 29,469.47. Shanghai Composite is at 3,640.65. It's up 1.03%. Hang Seng is following suit at up 1.74% at 29,988.72. ASX 200 is up 0.55 at 6,858.4. And rounding off, we've got the Kospi. It's up marginally 0.12% at 3,088.43. So, Adam, what do you make out of the markets across the region this morning?
Yeah, I guess the markets are following on a little bit mixed today, but following on from some choppy action that we had in the US yesterday. We started higher in the US, but didn't follow through too much. But interestingly, the US markets futures in Asia time have pushed a little bit higher this morning and are retesting all-time highs yet again across the S&P and the Dow. Yeah, I'm quite focused on the China market myself at the moment. I see that.
Down.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Go ahead, please. We missed you a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I'm quite focused on the China markets myself at the moment. I see quite a lot of value there, and I can see that that they are pushing higher at the moment and have been somewhat outperforming over the last month or so. But overall, I think that the big focus at the moment is on the US CPI data tonight. For me, the CPI is going to be the most important data point over the next year or two, as people look for evidence that the massive liquidity injections we're getting from central banks is or is not feeding through to consumer price inflation. So all eyes on that release this evening.
Now, what is that impact going to have on the dollar? Because there were a lot of predictions that the dollar will be moving south, but it moved higher in tandem with US equities, and then that's been reversed. What's your view on the dollar versus Asian currencies in 2021?
Yeah, overall, I'm quite bearish on the dollar as long as inflation does not become aggressively quickly a problem. I think that inflation will erode the value of the dollar in the long term, but if we have a very sharp inflation shock, then the rise in interest rates that will accompany will probably lead to unwinding of short dollar positions and some return of dollar strength, especially against emerging markets, and it would also be a risk-off environment. So the current situation with slightly increasing inflation levels and abundant liquidity, to me, continues to spell a very bearish dollar environment. And we're seeing recovery in things like the Aussie, sterling hitting new highs for this cycle, dollar China coming off again after early February, seeing some degree of USD strength. But once again, if CPI comes in as expected or slightly higher, I think that US dollar weakness will continue.
Now, Adam, I want to take you on your what you mentioned earlier about China. What specific areas are you looking at, and what do you like in China?
Yeah, so I'm generally not big on picking individual names myself. I think that that's a difficult thing to do in China when you don't have as much of a view into the individual companies. So I'm focused on basically the general China index. So I invest in that through ETFs, and also through the Hang Seng Tech Index. Is somewhere where I'm getting exposure to the tech sector of China in general. That's also through the ETFs. The only single name that I pick and trade myself is actually Geely, which has been one of the more active names over the last little while. And the reason I trade on that is because they are a company that I know well, being a shareholder in Saxo, and so I have a degree of comfort in their in the management style and that company. But generally, I'm not a single name picker myself. But I do like the tech sector and the bio sector in China a lot.
And so Geely, besides the traditional automotive business that they're in, they're a large shareholder in Daimler. Of course, they own Volvo, they own Proton. And interestingly enough, the financial arm of Geely owns, I think, 70% of Saxo, am I correct?
Around 51, 52% of Saxo,
okay,
yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
look,
a well-diversified company. Is that the reason why I think you mentioned that you like that stock particularly?
I like that stock because yes, it's well diversified. I see a very large amount of investment into electric vehicles and a very strong electric vehicle platform that they have put in place, and some developments along that electric vehicle platform in conjunction with Daimler. And also in conjunction with Baidu. I think that they've got this new architecture and platform where multiple producers can use that as the system develops, and so I'm quite confident that that they can get to scale through doing that successfully over the next few years.
Now, Adam, this is a very short Chinese New Year week, and most markets in the region will be closed on Friday, some even closed tomorrow. What events and data points should we be looking out to move markets next week?
Yeah, look, I think once again the key data point is the CPI tonight. I think what will also be interesting over the long weekend will be the impact that crypto is having on the market. There is definitely an impact from the announcement from Tesla around investing into Bitcoin. And we can see that money flows in and out of crypto and in and out of the markets. And there's this real tie-up between Tesla, between some of the innovative companies which are being invested in by the ARK Innovation ETF, which is commanding huge amounts of money, and Bitcoin. And it's very much the pointy end of the market where a lot of money is flowing into and getting a lot of excess returns. So keeping an eye on how they perform, I think over the Chinese New Year period will be key. But if all things continue smoothly as they are, I suspect the market will continue to the upside after Chinese New Year, and continue making new highs both across Asia and across the US.
Adam, thank you very much for your insights. Now, we've been speaking to Adam Reynolds, the CEO Asia Pacific of Saxo Markets, on BizTech's ASEAN Midday Market Watch. I'm Brian Fernandez. Check out www.biztech.asia for business and technology conversations.